All right, everybody, welcome back to another work night here in the garage for the Lightning Redemption project. As you can see, the supercharger is off. Was trying to get some things lined out here in this general area for final assembly, and I ran into some issues with the heater hoses in this general area right here. They are not wanting to slide on and connect to the new heater core that we sourced for the truck. And I had a little bit of issues with fitment to it, but it's not all that unusual for this age of truck. I have had issues with fitment on heater cores before, and I've been able to make them work generally in my regular mechanic world on my day job. So that wasn't out of the ordinary, but kind of wishing I had seen the signs and dealt with it then and not put it all back together. So unfortunately, what I'm going to do is pull the dash back off, which is not all that difficult on these trucks. Typically, if I were to replace a heater core on a truck that rolled in this body style, I can typically do it in about an hour and a half. So it's not that big of a deal. I already have a lot of stuff out of the way. So getting to it's going to be fairly simple. And basically what it comes down to is I'm having issues with it. Instead of trying to make it work and still having issues with it after the fact, let's just get rid of the problematic heater core and change it a different brand and go from there. And what kind of was a telltale sign is I took the original heater core that I pulled out of it, and the quick connections for the heater hoses slid on and off of it like it was meant to be. And they're really tight. It's like the outside diameter of the pipe is just probably, I would say, in my guess, 5 to 10 thousandths too big. And I did try some emery cloth to kind of sand it down, and it still didn't seem to. So it could also be that it's possibly like an oval shape to where it's wider in one direction and that's holding it up. It's really hard to say at this point. It doesn't matter. I'm just having issues with it. And, I was having talk with my brother. It usually gives good extra eyes type of advice. And he's just like, man, for as cheap as they are and where you're at, it'd just be better to go ahead and replace it. And I was like, man, that's just a better idea. And so owner Chris, I'm just gonna take a couple steps backwards just to make sure in the long run we're doing good. So I'm gonna get things set up. I'm gonna try my best to get the time-lapse camera in some positions to where things can be seen. I don't know how good that's gonna turn out, but we'll just show what I can show and just move forward. But realistically, again, this whole project's about making the highest quality finished product as possible, not just make it work product. So if I have to take a few steps back to know that it's going to be better in the long run, definitely going to do that. So with that said, it's time to get to work. All right, so as you can see, I've got the dash out of the way enough to where I can get to the HVAC box. This is how pretty much the majority of experienced techs will change a heater core on this body style of truck. So what I'm going to do here is box is going to stay mounted, but Ford left, when they designed this, left access to this. Now you can't quite get the evaporator core out, but for whatever reason they probably figured the heater core was going to be a bigger issue. So I can easily pull this cover off here, and then I can just pull the heater core out. Nothing's hooked up under the hood since I couldn't get it hooked up, but I'm going to get that out, swap it into the new one, and then immediately work on getting the stuff under the hood like connected, hooked up for the HVAC heater, get everything hooked up there, and then I'm going to come back and I'll get this dash put back in. But I'll probably only get the heater core swapped out, some lines and things hooked up tonight, and then another night I'll go back and finish everything up, get this dash back in, and then we'll be where we need to be. All right, so as you can see, that is the new heater core. Got it mounted in there, and lo and behold, heater hoses there, snapped right on, hooked right up the way they need to be. I'm gonna rerun this one underneath this hose. I think it's gonna look better like that, and then it'll give more room here to the two AC lines that I'll need to be mounting up shortly here next. But I'm going to get the inside blend door back in and get the case at least buttoned up, and I'm going to leave the dash dangling like it is until I get this entire area here lined up where it needs to be, and then I'll go ahead and finish putting the dash back together. And then once I get all this area buttoned up between the HVAC stuff, this electrical and things like that, I'll be ready to mount the best part of this engine permanently back on it. All right, got a little break in the action here. One of the issues that I'm having with the swap over is routing of the wiring harness and making it not look absolutely terrible. The way the connections surrounding the starter solenoid and this bracket right here, which some of these connectors fit into to sort of tidy it up, they were different between 97 to 2000, and the firewall holes and things like that are a little bit different. So trying to get things to mount up and look nice is the issue, and I'm not a sloppy guy, so I like things to look the way they should. So trying to figure out what goes where is really annoying enough for me to be happy with the final product. So I have undone the starter solenoid and battery cables probably 5 to 10 times already on this project, just going back and forth between various things, just because things are just a little bit different and enough to be annoying. On the 97, this whole firewall harness here, the trigger wire for the starter here actually comes out over here and then loops around and goes right there. But in the 2000, this is actually located slightly different. This bracket's a bit different, and also did not come, the 2000 bracket did not come with the kit, which, you know, it happens. It's not that big of a deal, but just trying to kind of marry the 97 body with the 2000 harness and making everything look right is when you're picky, it's a bit kind of annoying, just because I don't like to settle again for sloppy looking work. And this is where the most amount of stuff is going to be placed, because look at all these connections that we have right here, coupled with AC, everything else. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this general area, and so I just wanted to say it's, you know, honestly, it's really annoying. So anyway, back to work here. Just felt like I wanted to vent for a little bit. All right, so now the end of another work night here. It's been a couple of nights working on it. So what we got, like I said, superchargers on it, got all my electrical system there put up. Truck is really coming together. It's really motivating to get things in place where they need to be. I was just looking it over, and I'm starting to get just smaller and smaller things before this truck's ready to go. I do have the dash that I need to bolt back in. I waited till all that HVAC stuff was actually hooked up, and with the new heater core in, the lines just snapped in like they should. The air conditioning lines went together like they should. So things are starting to pick up a little bit of pace. So this is where I'm calling it quits for this tonight. The next thing I'll do this week is I'm going to get that dash put back in place. Get all that bolted up, get the electrical system all the way back together, so that's back where I want it. And then I'll get the supercharger oil changed up, and then get that final mounted. Again, there's something about just knowing I'm going to finally mount, permanent mount that supercharger is just really is getting me going here. And then to get it ready to run, the only thing I have left to do is put the radiator in. I don't have to hook up the cooling system, and I don't necessarily want to hook up everything in between the engine and the cooling system, but I need the radiator in to hook up the transmission lines, torque down all the transmission lines in place, all the fittings in place where they need to be, and then I will put fluid in the transmission, slide the drive shaft in, just to keep fluid from running out when it runs, because the pump spinning the fluid everywhere would likely dump that out. So I'll just need to get everything. There's a lot of little things I'm going to need to do to get it running. Also, I'll need to get the fuel tank in and get that plumbed up. So some odds and ends need to happen, but boy, is it getting close, and it's getting really exciting. And then here in a few weeks, the owner of the truck's going to come up, and we're going to get that rear end in. I got one of the last pieces for it in with the upper shock mount for the staggered shock setup. So I have pretty much what seems like just about every piece I need to make this thing run and drive. We're going to get a bunch knocked out when he comes up. And so at some point here soon, this truck's going to be fired up and running, and then even under its own power and driving. And before I can drive it and do the bug workout and things like that, I'll have to take it to the shop, put it on a lift, and get the exhaust bolted up. But things are getting where they need to be. So happy holidays are coming up, let me tell you. So with that said, like, follow, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. Thanks for watching, and peace. I'm out.